on, 1 p.m. Eastern. Las Vegas Raiders 0-2, 0-1 on the road at the Tennessee Titans, 0-2, 0-1 at home. Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, 78 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 9 miles per hour. We will start with the line history in this one. And we've had a move to the under. But from a spread perspective, there has been a 9-cent move to the Tennessee Titans. They open up plus 2.5 minus 105. Right now, they're at plus 2.5 at minus 114. There had been a slight move towards the Raiders, but that's changed in the last 24 hours or 22 hours. From a totals perspective, this opened up at 46.5 and has dropped to 45.5. From the cash flow in this one, we have 4,110 tickets in, 48% of the tickets, 54% of the cash on the Titans. So there's not a lot to learn from that. There is 45% of tickets and 93% of cash to the under. Raiders coming off the shock 29-23 overtime loss at home to the Cardinals. They were up 20-0 at the half, 23-7 with 9 minutes left. Derek Carr, 25 of 39, 252 yards, 2 touchdowns, threw for just 42 after halftime, was on the field for just 10 minutes. Mac Hollins led receivers with 5 catches for 66 yards. Hunter Renfrow caught 7 passes for 59 yards and then evaluated for a concussion after the game. He fumbled twice, that last one being returned for the Cardinals' game-winning score. Darren Waller, 6 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. And Devontae Adams shut down. 2 catches, 12 yards, 1 touchdown. And remember, and keep an eye on this, because remember Derek Carr thought he was forcing the ball into Devontae Adams in week 1. When he's not forcing the ball to him, he's not getting a lot of opportunities. Josh Jacobs, 19 carries for 69 yards. Max Crosby got the lone sack. They did hit Kyler Murray 7 times, and Meek Robertson had the pick. Defensive lineman Bilal Nichols injured his shoulder in the second half. He did not return. The Raiders' last 11 games as favorites, they've covered 1 time. And they are 5-6 straight up in those games. The Titans are on a short week after getting destroyed 41-7 at Buffalo on Monday Night Football. I was on the Bills' first half. Andy was on the Bills' full game. Coming off a 21-20 season opening loss to the Giants, they've opened 0-2 for the first time since 2012. Their offense looks abysmal. 187 total yards, 12 first downs, and just 2 of 11 drives finished in Bills territory. Tannehill, 11 of 20 for 117 yards. Ugly. 2 interceptions. The second pick was returned for a touchdown. Treylon Burks, 4 catches for 47 yards. Robert Woods had 4 catches for 39 yards, which gives him 5 catches for 52 yards through 2 games. Hassan Haskins led the Titans on the ground. I did not say Derrick Henry. Henry was 13 carries, 25 yards, did get a TD. Tennessee ranks 26th in yards per play. They got no pressure on Josh Allen, 1 sack, 3 quarterback hits, and they suffered a ton of injuries. Tyler Luan did not return after hurting his right knee in the first quarter. Trenton Cannon didn't return after hurting his right knee on the opening kickoff. Bud Dupree hurt his hip. And so they brought Josh Gordon up from the practice squad. Wow, this is so many moving parts, Andy. Can you give us some clarity? Raiders, Titans.
Yeah, and the biggest thing there is the Tennessee injuries. Not only they have Landry hurt preseason, but now Dupree, and it's looking like that's not going to be the biggest deals. Again, we're sitting here on Tuesday. You guys know what the Monday injury reports look like. It's like, hey, they do the pretend one, where it's if we had practice today, here's the guys who would have participated and not participated. So you don't get a ton of info on Mondays. Sometimes some teams are cagier than others, but yeah, the Christian Fulton missing last week, Taylor Lewan carted off, the Bud Dupree injury. So you could be missing multiple pieces up front. You could be missing your best one of the best left tackles in the league against a good pass rush. And if you look at the stats from like a 10,000 foot view on the Raiders, it looks like a middle of the pack rush defense. But you kind of put a little context to that. You're not going to face schoolyard play Kyler Murray every week. Like, he inflated those numbers for last week. Like, I do believe it's a half decent rush defense. And man, we might be at the point where Derrick Henry, the carries, the totes, the tackles, all the wear and tear is finally caught up to the guy, and he just doesn't have that same burst. I have a hard time saying a lot of nice things about the Tennessee Titans right now. They were embarrassed. They ended up, going to garbage time with the young rookie early. It was crazy how early we had both backups in that game. It just turned to be a second half bloodbath. The only good thing I saw from the Tennessee Titans was their first drive. I think, you see those scripted first drives where the team looks good because they've practiced that drive all week. And from there, it was pretty rough. Tannehill has been set up to fail. Henry looks bad. Really, they lucked into a pretty decent young receiver in Burks. That's maybe their bright spot on offense, and the bright spots on defense are all getting injured. It's tough. I don't like taking a road favorite here, but I have a lot of respect for, I guess, the Raiders' offense. At least they've done some nice things. It feels like it's still a work in progress with the new coach, and they hurt me deeply because I had that under. And I had it at an early number. I didn't get the 52.5. I didn't see it going up. I did not predict the market going that way. I thought it'd go under. And it ended up going to 52.5, landed on 52. I was very upset with that because all I needed was just a field goal in overtime and not the fumble 6. The Raiders deserve better. I liked them in a nice bounce back spot. And then, Tennessee on a short week getting the snot beat out of them. There's a flat 2 in the market right now, 2 minus 110. I guess I'm betting every Raiders game this year. This will be the first one I win if we get this one through. So, yeah, and like we said, with Taylor Lewan hurt, you're going to end up with some Raiders in the backfield. Max Crosby could have a big game. Tannehill is one of the most. He only got sacked twice, and granted, he didn't play the whole game. But he was one of the most sacked. I believe the second most sacked quarterback last year. I think you can guess who the most sacked quarterback was up there in Cincinnati. But I think the Raiders pass rush is going to have a field day, and I'm going to take a -2 here.
Well, let's lock you in. Even as we've been speaking, bigger bets are coming in Tennessee. It was 54% of the cash. It's now 58%. So, I would like to make a point of buying low and selling high. I guess you could say that even if you took the Raiders or the Titans, you would be buying low.
Yeah, you're buying low on anybody here.
Point. Gerald Jones leaning heavy towards the Raiders. A lot of disgust for Tannehill in the chat. Alex says Raiders are 3-1 last 4 against the spread and 3-0 last 3 against Titans. However, they're also 0-13 as non-division favorites. Yeah, we talked about how bad they've been as favorites. All right, well, let's find Andy the best line available for his Raiders. Move over to point spread, and here we go. For the Raiders, we can find you a -2 at -110. -2.
That's perfect because that's what I bet.
Andy.
I bet Chris right now. I'm sure it's there a lot of places.
There you go. You're on the board, and thankfully you are, because I have not found an angle at this point. Maybe we'll find it in our next